Right, so welcome back to Adventure 82. We're at St. Ones today. But it's not to do with the beach. It's not to do with the sand dunes. It is to do with the Germans. Because I don't know how many people realise, but even St. Ones during the Second World War had a railway. Right, so like I said, we're at St. Ones. If I get the sun out of my face. There, see, now you can see me. Right, so most people when they come out St. Ones come here for the beach. They might come here for the sand dunes. But what they probably don't realise is that the car park that they're parking on. So if I turn this around, you'll see what I mean. That car park that goes all the way down here, and you'll notice it goes all the way down the length of the beach, doesn't it? And you have various entrances you can go into to go to St. Ones Bay. That is in fact in itself where the track was. So you can see all these little bits of stone. Obviously these have been washed over the years, but in certain parts where you're not allowed to drive, you'll notice it's a very kind of sharp black stone, and that's remaining from when there was ballast down, because the German railway used to run all the way up the coast here, up until the end of the 5 mile road there, and it went all the way down here and went across to Le Poulon at the very other end of the other end of the 5 mile road, and it actually finished at Le Tac. It went round across the coast into Le Tac. If you ever walk along that bottom part of the beach there that brings you round to Le Tac, if you walk actually on the actual path above the wall rather than on the beach, you will actually notice, let me turn this back around, you will actually notice that what you actually get is, you'll see there's like there's a raised area of grass. That was the bank that the Germans put in to keep their track level, because once they got there, the track wasn't level anymore, so it didn't work. Also, how much you like the Button Moon t-shirt? It's awesome. Who doesn't like Button Moon? Right, so as we go down here, hoping the sun's not going to ruin this too much.
Stay still, man.
There used to be multiple offcuts. We're going to look at a couple of those today. One of the ones we're going to look at, and the first one we're going to look at, is the one over here. Now you can see over there in the distance, you can see what is the Val de la Mar Dam for the Val de la Mar Reservoir, and you can see this road here that goes off down that way. That started out life as one of these offcuts from the railway, and it went up here, but it didn't follow the exact route that this lane takes now. It deviated slightly. So how did it get from here to Val de la Mar, and what was the point? Right, the point was to get from here, it used to go through what was then a valley. Val de la Mar hadn't been flooded yet, we'll get to that. And then it came out the other side of what was then the valley of Val de la Mar, and it went all the way up until it got to Rhone Quarry. Why? Well, there's a reason how they managed to build so many bunkers along the west coast so quickly, and that was because they made themselves some train infrastructure to bring all the raw materials they needed down here. So we're going to have a look at the route it used to take. We're not going to follow the track bed because there's not much point. If you follow the track bed here on the 5 mile road, you're just going to be following the car park, and that's not going to be interesting for anybody, so there's no point in me doing that. We will follow some of the track bed up at Val de la Mar, I'll show you where it came out of Val de Lamar, and I'll show you a couple of the other Orf spurs that used to cover through, but a lot of it's been demolished, or sections have been built upon, because obviously houses have been built since then. And what remains of the track beds is now been turned into roads. So quite a lot of the road infrastructure going between St Peter's and St John is actually just track bed left from the Germans that's been tarmacked over. So we'll have a look at a few of those as well. But right, for now we need to make our way up there behind me to Val de Lamar, so let's go do that. I was just about to go to Val de Lamar. I thought I'd just point out, just so you can see, I'm not actually on my own today. So I've got Lydia with me, Charlotte, Blaze, Eric is over there on the phone to somebody. Blade is actually trying to get the dog killed. He's over there, so there's Blade. But yeah, anyway, like I said, down here to Val de Lamar. Let's go down there. Right, so well, you can hear me. I haven't got the normal microphone, and I still can't get a bloody media mod for my GoPro 9, which is what Eric is filming me on. But this is how the Germans got this across. So we'd have come across this field, it was raised, because you can see the land over there towards the 5 Mile Road, that's raised. And we came across these fields, across this bridge, and then across Val de Lamar Reservoir, or as then it was then a valley. And then it disappeared off and underneath another road, which is on the other side of the reservoir, which is where we'll go next. But before we do that, I'll actually show you what it's like up here. So Eric is going to start filming me to pass me the camera so I can show you. Right, so I'm filming this bit on my camera because Erica can't pass me the GoPro up. This is the top of the bridge. You can see here how there's a lip, because the bit I'm walking on now, this would have been filled up to there with ballast. The track would have been on top, but it would have gone all the way back down there, as I was saying in the previous video, down there, and would have gone through what's now bushes and along. You can clearly see where the track bed was raised up by the Germans to keep it level. I'll show you that next as well, and then we'll go across the other side of Val de Lamar and we'll show you where it went through and underneath. But for now, I've got to get down, and that's interesting because this side is quite a way down and the walls on an angle. This one's kind of the same, but it's all overgrown. And then all this is just bush. So how I'm going to get down, I'm not sure, but I'll figure it out. What I do know though, is that my way up, I got murdered. Look, bushes tried to kill me. Right, so I'm back down, not necessarily in one piece, but I'm down. We're under the bridge now, and you can see it's quite a solid structure. Look, as you'd expect from the Germans, you can see their layers of concrete again, as you've come accustomed to if you've seen like my bunker videos and stuff. They weren't just digging bunkers, making bunkers. I suppose you could argue that you wouldn't build this unless you were building a bunker. So lots of people have always asked, on especially Temps Passé, sometimes on Jersey Ask if I'd advertise, and a couple of times on Jersey by Camera. These are all Facebook pages, by the way. What's this bridge for? We have now answered the question. Right, so as we go down here, we were down here earlier on in the year, me and Erica. What we were doing is we were showing you the massive overflow that was happening at the time on the dam over there, which is much slower now because the rainfall is less. But what I also pointed out to you was that the railway used to be here, but what I'll do is I'll show you how. Right, we've got some live music, guys. Right.
Stephen?
Yeah? Lydia's in a hole. Say hello, Lydia.
Right.
Right, what Lydia's found is this is an old water course. This is what the natural stream that ran through the valley before the railway was built. Lydia's decided to get down there. She's taking some cool pictures. I'll put some in.
She's also found a dragonfly.
And she found a dragonfly. Right, so I'll put some of these pictures in if you're into like the pretty pictures of Jersey. But you can see here now, you can see the landscape, you can see this big hill, and you can see here that there's a gradual path, kind of, well, looks like a path coming through there. It's all overgrown now. That's the track bed it used to hug around the hill. You see, the thing the Germans had going for them was that they had, turn that around, they had a narrow gauge track. I don't know if the Germans still use narrow gauge. Maybe somebody who's been to Europe or Germany specifically can tell me whether they still run a narrow gauge track. But at the time, the Germans ran narrow gauge track, and the Germans chose narrow gauge track in Jersey for what they were doing, because what they were going to be doing was shifting stone backwards and forwards to build their structures. So it made sense to build narrow gauge track, because narrow gauge track makes it easier to pull weight uphill, because trains are notoriously awful at gradients, so they don't want to climb hills empty, let alone full of stone. Narrow gauge track, because the wheels are closer together, that allows you to pull up a steeper gradient, which allowed them to get their stuff from A to B in Jersey and still have, relatively for a train, sharp inclines and still get it up there. That's how they got their stuff around. I mean, you look at, like, if you go back and you look at the JR&T videos I did, if you look at the one that I did after I did St Albans Station, or it would have been St Albans to, I'm not sure what the station was now, but it would have been the one after St Albans. So many things to remember. You'll see there that that's quite a steep gradient for a train even then, and it was a historical problem in Jersey even for the railways of the original. They just had trouble with the gradients. But yeah, so that's why they chose narrow gauge track. So the trains they ran on here were generally diesels. They didn't run steam trains, they ran diesel trains, kind of like what you'd expect to see in a quarry. That's what they used most of the time. And it would have gone, like I say, if we come back here, would have gone through here, and you can see, if you follow this route, you can see where the track bed was. Like I say, you can see after a while it fades out, and that's because just before where the dam is there, you can see where it fades out. There's like a big yellow bush, and then there's a gap, a small yellow bush, and another big bush. So they went across here, and there was a bridge section there that crossed the natural stream and went to the other side of the valley, and then it carried on down on the other side of the valley. So this is why the track bed disappears here, because in 1967 they built this dam as a reservoir for the island because it needed extra water storage, and as a result most of the track bed, the original track bed, has been destroyed apart from certain sections. Once they got to here, the natural land level gets higher, so the train actually ended up sinking down into the ground. So here it's above ground level. By the time we got to the other end of the valley, the height of the ground had changed so significantly that it was actually below ground level. So when it got there, it had to go under the road, which is what we're going to go have a look at now. Right, so what I thought I'd do is to show you exactly what we've been following so far. So this is Rail Maps Online. They're really useful for following historical railways. So at the moment, you can see on here we have a yellow line, which is here, and we have a pink line here. These are the historic railways of Jersey. So that yellow line is the JR, and the pink line is the JR&T. if I click this little button over here that says industry, suddenly you have these orange lines turn up. Now these orange lines are the occupational lines. These are the ones the Germans built solely for building purposes. So if we zoom in a bit, now so we zoomed in on St. Peter's. Now we started out around here, roughly. And what we've done so far is we followed this up here, and then we got to the bridge, which is roughly here on this road here. And then you can see here now how it used to cut through at the side of the reservoir and come out, and used to go through here and then underneath the main road here by the Amazing Rays, which you'll be seeing in a moment. But the interesting bit is, like I told you before we came up this way, is that there's two bits where the railway came off. There's a second section here where it spurred off the old railway up here just before Red Houses. So this section here, it came off, it went through Kennevay, straight through what's now the Kennevay housing estate. And if we zoom in, you can see now how this particular section, sorry, I'll zoom out slightly. There we go. Actually made way for certain roads in St. Peter's. You can see this now then follows the main road through the village. See, there's the co-op, which most people will know. Goes past the co-op, comes out, goes through, goes down the main road, and then goes down this road here, which I'll show you exactly which road that is near the end, called La Rue de Sapin. So that road was didn't exist before the railway was built. That was built by the Germans. The road was then converted from track bed to road afterwards in the 50s. You can see they slightly straightened it out in areas because obviously cars. And it went down slightly past Rue de Hetre. But then see, this is where we couldn't follow it, because if you follow this one, this is coming out the back end of the Amazing Maze, which is the one we've been following, or whether you follow the other one, they all both meet here, just past Rue de Sillon. And this is why with this video we can't really go much further than here, because all this is private land and it's just crossing roads, there's nothing left. And this one, it literally is the road, or it's crossing private land and there's nothing left. And then here, it follows through here. This is now the main road here that brings you out onto the road near, that says Catherine Best, most people know it as the windmill. And then it cuts across here and goes down. This is another road, see, that was built by the Germans, Vert Rue. Now this road actually existed before the Germans, but what they did is they widened it to allow their train to fit through. So this went through along here. And you can see here it followed part of what's now the main route through St. John. And then it just took a sudden detour here, just before finishing off the road in St. John's and going into St. Lawrence. It went straight up, straight across all these, which a lot of this is housing now. If I show the map here, I switch to satellite, you can see how much this is just farmland now, see, and buildings. And it ended at the Rhone Quarry. And there used to be a platform there where they were able to load them all up, bring them down here, and then they'd be able to go off on their way to wherever. It was a very clever layout. So with this allowed them to get their building materials wherever they needed them to go. You can see here, I told you they went as far as Latac, but they made it a loop. So it came back round and down the A12. So they had quite an extensive rail network going on here. And then here, they had a train depot, which I mentioned in one of the bits about St. Helier videos. if you want to have a look at that. What we're going to have a look at next time is this orange section here, because they made, as you can see from this, an interesting connection that nobody else managed. But for now, back to the railway. So the last place you saw us, we were, where were we? We were on the other side of Valar, so we were just around here. So we're now going to be up here by Amazing Maze. And yeah, this didn't go well. I almost lost my shoes in the mud several times. But right, back to the video. Right, so we're back at the other side. We're now on the other side, as you can see, of Valar. Charlotte apparently is going to attempt to climb down to this bit, which should be interesting.
Very interesting.
So, where's our train in like context to where we are? So this is the car park just opposite the Amazing Maze. So the way this would work is, if I turn the camera around, I'll show you.
I don't want to go.
Right, so you've got behind the cars here, this is where the train would have been, but it wouldn't have been at this level, it would have been down below. And what most people don't realise, when they're coming up on this road here, like probably most of these people are driving along now, is they're driving over a German tunnel. Because the tunnel is there.
Oh, I actually never noticed that.
See? So you've got a German tunnel, you've got a bridge here, and then the tunnel underneath for the train.
It's very hedgy.
So what I'm going to do now is attempt to make my way down there to show you it. Now, it's not overly rainy, well, it's not been rainy at all today. In fact, today's probably the first warm day we've had since I came back from Huddersfield. So for point of reference, this is the beginning of April 2024. It's been very rainy in Jersey, and yeah, so this bit tends to flood when there's a lot of rain. So I don't know how dry or not it is down here. And as you can see, because there's a lot of overgrowth, it's that time of the year, you can't really see. So look how thick this is, what you're doing, or where your feet are going to land on, or even how sturdy the ground is. See, there's a sudden drop there. Right, so we're down, and this is, well, look at that big hole there, relatively deep mud. So you two might have to stay on the bank because this is quite deep mud. It like tried to consume my shoe. Anyway, so as you can see, it gets quite deep here. The mud itself isn't so bad when you get further into the tunnel, the bridge kind of thing, but it's bad enough. Oh, that's really solid. That's really done it. So that's my shoes done. Right, so now we're now under the bridge, and I've drowned my shoes. Sorry, Mum. And Erica, no doubt she'll tell me off. You can see, since the Germans abandoned it, it's been used to tunnel cables and stuff under the road. It's much easier to drill holes through this and then run the pipes through than it is to dig up the road or put it correct. But this is how your railway would have been. So it would have come through there, and then it would have come through here, across the other side. Now, if you can get to the other side, I'll have a look now for you. That's quite overgrown though, so I'm going to have to turn the camera off to have a look. So I'll come back in a minute. Right, so we can't get through there, and I'll show you why. See, look how deep this mud is. This is me trying to walk across, and because we've got the natural flow of the river coming through, the stream that would have naturally flowed through the reservoir and the valley at the time as it was then, it's not dried out enough. You'd have to wait till June or July to be able to get down there, and we won't be here then. But I'll see if I can get you a shot of it maybe from the road or something. But for now, I need to try and get out and not lose my shoes. So wish me luck.
Daddy.
Right, so I've made it out. Pardon me. Let's see if I can show you the other side. I'm not sure if I can. There's an interesting mix down there actually of both ground and sand. So yeah, so you can see this is where it used to go. You see, this is all private now. You stay there. I'm telling Charlotte not to cross the main road. So this is what used to go across here. Looks like there's some sort of building or something down there, but I can't see it, so I can't really tell you what that is. And that went through, and then that came out into the area that's now part of Amazing Maze. Whether you can still get to the bit where it came out into the part that was Amazing Maze or not, that's another question. So I'll go and have a look at that before we go, but for now I've got to go meet Erica and have a picnic with the kids and these shoes.
One quick thing, if you're going down there, do not get your shoe concealed.
No, I would say if you are going to go and take a look at that tunnel bridge, that's fine. Don't do it in April like I'm doing. Wait till kind of June. I would say probably the best time would be mid-July, so it's had time to dry out and it'll be nice and solid then, because the stream stops running around that time and then the ground goes really hard. But for now I'm going to go meet Erica and I'll pick you guys up where the railway came out on the other side. We'll see if there's anything left on the Amazing Maze end. Right, so just before I go across and see what there is, if anything, on the Amazing Maze side of the road, I thought I'd show you this. So this is the path down into the reservoir from the side we're on. You can see clearly this flat area here that goes off and disappears down there into the distance. This is the old track bed. It would have gone off down there and then it disappeared down to where that bridge was and underneath the road. Right, so this road here that goes off to the side here, Ruda Sapid, that's the road that railway disappeared off up, but it actually came along this road we're on now, and it came out from the road that you now use to go to the St Peter's Co-op, and it went down through to the railway along the 5 mile road that way, but they both used to meet up at the other end and then join up, as I show, which I should have already shown you on a map. And then they went up and they basically ended at Sorrel Point where the current quarry is, and that's where they used to get all their stone and the aggregate they needed to make their concrete to build their many bunkers out west. The reason that never worked out for them, although it did make a couple of spurs off in the east, was because, in all honesty, by the time they'd got to the east, there was so little left for them to use, that materials were so scarce that they couldn't build much. So that's why there's not much to my fortifications out east. But they had more bigger concerns, because towards the end of the occupation, when the Germans were still out here, for the last year or so, they were pretty much starving. They didn't have much in the way of food. People of Jersey were getting red cross parcels, but the Germans, they weren't, and you weren't allowed to share them. Although I dare say that probably some locals took pity on the Germans on occasion and gave them food, etc. But that's what happened. So with that said, that's the end of this video. I couldn't show you the Amazing Maze, like I say, because it's private property. They've built a massive house where the railway used to go through, and that section's now in his back garden and he ain't sharing. So that's the basics of the occupation lines. It's not the last one I'm going to do on the occupation lines. I'm going to show you another spur, but that one's in St Helier, so we'll do that one on a different video. But until then, from me over here in Jersey, for the time being, at least for the next couple of months, I shall see you in the next one, wherever that may be, because I don't know. Also, just so you're aware, the little shelter video I told you I wanted to add something onto, the other section of German Occupation Railway, that's what I'm going to add onto it. That's why it hasn't been put out yet. So you'll get that probably next week if I have a chance to film it. That depends on what the weather's like, because you just don't know. So anyway, like I say guys, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you like this one. It's been a while since we've done anything German, and yeah, see you next week.